Hi guys, today I'm gonna assemble this heat exchanger because all the parts are ready for assembly, and that's a really good thing. But before I do that, I will give you an explanation of how this heat exchanger actually works. It is a reservoir full of cooling fluid, and it has this heat exchanger tube with 24 tubes on it that guides the salt water or the seawater from the outside of the boat. It goes in through this lid, goes through the pipes, and exits through this lid. It goes into the exhaust elbow. But it's not quite that easy, because this tube, the 24 tubes in it, is quite ingenious. If you can take a look at the end of this section, you can see there is it's divided into 3 parts. And at the lid, there's one big compartment and there's one small compartment. So the water enters into this small compartment and is enclosed by the gasket and this rib inside of here. So that it has to travel through 8 of the 24 pipes. So it goes through these pipes, these 8 pipes here. It goes through the heat exchanger tube, and when it comes out in the other end, you can see the lid in the other end has also a big compartment and a small compartment. But here the small compartment is at the top, while here it is down in this corner, down in the bottom here in this corner, if you could call it a corner. So when it has run through in the lower half, because it was sent in through this lid, it exits these 8 pipes that is located in this area. It has nowhere to go but up here, and return through the next 8 pipes. So then it returns in these 8 pipes over here. And again, it enters the big compartment of this lid. And it has nowhere to go but to the last 8 or remaining 8 pipes, and then return to the other end and ends up in this small compartment over here and goes out this hose barb and into the exhaust elbow. So it passes actually 3 times through this pipe before it leaves the heat exchanger. And that's quite ingenious. It's they made the same gasket for both sides. But it's the lid that determines where the salt or seawater should run through. So even though it's a small pipe, it's a good and controlled flow through it. So that's quite ingenious. And also there is another thing. In this side of the heat exchanger, you have one opening in both ends in this aluminium cover that runs all over. And in this end you have one at the bottom. And here are the tubes. When you look at them from the outside, if you could call it the outside. And this is all encapsulated in fresh water all around this tube, but also in here. So when the heated water from the engine enters the heat exchanger on this hose barb, it goes into a small chamber. As you can see, there is a some pitting and has been going on some corrosion on this engine. So this part of it is the inlet. So the water goes in on top here and flows down, and it has to enter through these two holes. And there's a bleeding point at the top for letting air out. There's also a small gap between here, but that's really small. So for the fresh water that comes from the engine that's really hot, that's gotten into this pipe, it has to travel through this aluminium outer tubing or cover to get out of this small compartment, and the water pump is pushing it through. So, and then it's cooled down, so it naturally wants to fall downwards because cold water is heavier than hot water. So it falls down, goes into the bottom of the heat exchanger. At the bottom of the heat exchanger there's an exhaust manifold, which also gives off a lot of heat. So that also gives off heat to this water, and the water circulates by convection inside of the heat exchanger. And in the end, the coldest water will always settle at the bottom, and it will return out of this tube back to the engine. So then it has been cooled quite a bit. So the water that has left this hole might get heated from the exhaust and flows back up, but this tube is really cold as well, so it loses heat again and it falls down. So it's always forced water through this unit. So yeah, that's a quick run through of how it actually works. But the way they guide the seawater through this piping system is actually quite smart. So I just wanted to tell you, it's probably something nobody ever wonders about except from people like me, or only me maybe. But if you find it interesting, that's good. Leave a like. Now I'll cut this video and I will make another one of putting everything back together.